If you have a transgender child, please stop grieving them. You'll get over it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. If you don't know me, my name is Kyle, aka Prince Kyle, don't forget it, and I have an Instagram as well as a TikTok where I share my trans experience as well as give the perspective of others. Today's video is honestly for the parents, and I'm gonna come right out and say it. If you have a transgender child, please stop grieving them. Like, can we please stop doing that? Your child did not go anywhere. Your child is right there, and they are alive and well. And they'd be even more well if you just accepted them for who they were. Yeah. Nothing grinds my gears more than when I hear a parent sob and boo-hoo about how they lost their child once they find out their child is transgender. Like, where do you think your child went? Like, they're still, like, did we miss something? Did they move out? Usually that doesn't happen unless you kick them out. So what exactly are we grieving here? You see, it's very, very selfish to think it's all about you and your feelings when your child comes out to you as being transgender. While you're freaking out and saying you're grieving this person and that person and oh my God, my life is over, your child has been suffering through this for more years than you can even imagine. But you're worried about your feelings. Now I understand to an extent that it's gonna be a little different. You went from raising your child as what you thought to be a specific gender, and because we live in a world where these roles are so strong, once you found out what anatomy your baby had before they were even born, you planned out their whole life thereafter. I understand that that could be a little heartbreaking, I guess, but you did it to yourself. You see, living in a world where everything is based off of your anatomy, you literally designed this child's world before they could even tell you how they wanted to live it. And now you're upset because they are going against what you had planned for them. Last I checked, it was their life. See where I'm going with this? So again, I understand it's different. It's gonna be a lot different. You may have to switch around a couple things and get used to a couple things, but guess what? You'll get over it. You will get over it. And then you're probably thinking, well, yeah, it's gonna be hard though, because I went from calling my child this for years and now they're expecting me to just change and call them this. Guess what? A lot of times you do that anyway when they get married. And guess what? It wasn't a problem. And then you might say, well, all the pronouns nowadays, I've always called for example, I've always called my child she and her, like, that's what I'm used to. It's been 15 years and that's all I know her to be. I can't change and call her a he and him now. Guess what? When they got married, you would do that anyway. You would go from saying Miss to Mrs. Like, we do this anyway. So the real problem is you just don't like to make the changes that you don't like, but you're okay with making the changes that in society is normal. Once they fall outside of what the world sees as normal, now it's too hard. See where I'm going with this? The whole point is it takes time. Obviously it's gonna take time. My mom, it took her a long time. And I will say it takes teamwork. Like, the child has to be on board too with understanding it's going to take time. The child can't just get mad at the parent because they just told them, hey, I'm actually not a she, I'm a he, and expect the parent to just all of a sudden get it. The child also has to understand it's going to take time. But you as the parent, and being the mature parent, you're going to try very hard to make your child happy. So you're going to step on it. And if you don't, it really just goes to show, like, do you really love your child? And then I know some people are going to say, well, I love my child so much, I want to make sure they don't do this. Please educate yourself. That's all I'm going to say to that. Please educate yourself. You are doing your child more harm when you think that you can just fix them out of something, when in reality, that's how they were born. The whole reason some parents put themselves in these denial phases and grieving phases is because you jump to conclusions the second you find out your child has a penis or a vagina. The second you find out that information, you already have a long timeline of exactly how you think their future is going to go, simply because of them having one anatomy versus the other. So the second they step out of that timeline that you gave them, now you're grieving. Be so for real. Be so for real, man. I promise you, there is nothing to grieve. Because while you're thinking your child just changed overnight, this has been your child from day one. You just weren't aware of it. You didn't know. Your child knew. Being transgender is not just this overnight decision. And that is what everyone is so stuck on. Everyone is so stuck on thinking that this is something you can just wake up and change. Like, no, this is something that just carries throughout our entire life. It is something that we realize when we are very, very young. Very similar to someone whose gender and sex aligns perfectly. The majority of human beings, sex and gender align perfectly. And guess what? That takes thought. You have to realize that they align perfectly. Well, guess what? That same thing happens to trans people. So yes, we do know when we are 4 or 5 years old, sometimes even 3. Because it is something that you naturally go through as a child. So while you're having this whole temper tantrum as a full-blown adult, saying how you're grieving your child is gone forever, poof. That's been your child the whole time. The only thing you have to learn is speaking differently. But that does not mean you cannot love your child the same. Nothing changes. The way you love your child should not change. If you are grieving your child when they come out to you as trans, it is because you are throwing them away. You don't want to learn who they really are and who they have really been. It is not the child's problem. It's a you problem. And if you are really grieving your child and grieving the pronouns you are so used to saying and the name that you are so used to saying, then maybe you need to go to therapy. You guys, it's really not that hard. It's not that difficult. And I'm not even trying to be like an asshole about this. Like, I'm genuinely just trying to get through to people because it is so heartbreaking to hear parents sob about losing their child who was never lost. They know who they are, they've always known who they are, and they finally feel safe enough to come out to you and tell you who they are. And for you to say you're grieving about it, be for real. The sun is like slowly blinding me. That's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're still on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you who do keep subscribing. If you have a chance to show your parents this video, I give full permission. Go on ahead. As always, I love you, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.